afternoon. Welcome back to Tierney Therapy, where we're going through a series on how to deal with triggers and broken coping skills. If, like me, you like to read a book to learn from, please check out my book, Your Energy Works, which is available on Amazon. This book details all these practices we're doing here in this series, but also my healing practices for trauma and past events that you might suffer. If this is your first time here, please go back to the beginning of this series. Therapy is about treating you for your trauma, not to cause you any. So please go back to the beginning of this series and learn the techniques I've shared so that you're better equipped to handle any triggers you might experience. If you are operating a vehicle or heavy machinery, or if you're involved in something that requires your full attention, please hold off and do this later when you have some free time. When we work with energy, we need to give ourselves a score to give us an idea of how the practice is going. So earlier on in this series, I taught you the SUD scale, where you give yourself a score of your emotion, your trigger, your discomfort, and then at the end of the session, you review your score. Last week, we dealt with anger and how you use your middle finger to express and release your anger. This week, we're dealing with fear, but fear and anger come very much together. In the last episode, we spoke about anger and how you use your middle finger to express anger. Well, fear is a case of, when you're angry and you've got no fear, you give the middle finger. But when you're angry and you're also fearful, we give two fingers. We give the middle finger of anger and the forefinger of fear. So you might give someone two fingers. This tells us that our fear is in our forefinger. When we hold up our middle finger, we're being angry with no fear. But when we're fearful of the person, maybe it's a boss, a colleague, or a parent, when they're walking away or they're a safe distance away, we give them two fingers, expressing anger and fear. So the fear is in the forefinger. So before you start, you rate your fear, whether it's financial fear or insecurity. Whatever your fear is, you score it on that scale. Maybe right now your fear is a -7. You then place the tip of your forefinger, forefinger print, against the palm of the other hand. Drop your hands over it, let your hands fall into your lap. Earlier on in this series, I suggested 3 breaths to use for releasing anxiety and your triggers: the spiritual sigh, the yawn, and the cough. What I suggest to my clients is, at the beginning of each session, you use your sigh, your yawn, and your cough. At the end of each session, use your sigh, your yawn, and your cough. But during the actual practice, just use the spiritual sigh. So, for example, with your forefinger tip against the palm of your hand, your fingers wrapped around it, your hands dropped into your lap, you do the spiritual sigh. You breathe in healing energy from the universe. Breathe in healing energy from the universe. And a big yawn. Another spiritual sigh in from the universe. And a big cough. And then when you're settled, just imagine you're breathing in healing peace of mind and releasing your fears with a sigh. At the end of 2 to 3 minutes, finish off with the sigh, the yawn, the cough. Stop what you're doing, shake your hands off, and review your score as your score comes down. Some of my clients have experienced instant relief. Others, it's taken a little bit longer. About forming new coping skills, new habits. It's known that to form a bad habit takes a split second, but to form a good habit, you need to do it about 200 times a day for about 2 months for it to become part of your psyche. So repeat this exercise over and over again. I would just suggest this, you combine this with the rest of the exercises and do them all as one group. In the next episode, we'll be dealing with sadness and grief. My name is Richard Tierney, and thank you for joining me.